Hey, what's up out there? It's David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. And that's exactly what we're doing in today's special episode. We're doing an exchange of my time with a couple of people that have responded to a video about wanting personalized coaching and instruction. So today I am sitting across the virtual table with Richard. Say hello out there, Richard.
Hello.
And he has come to me with some sort of question, concern, and I'm just going to go ahead and let him take it away and see what I can do. So, Richard, if you want to kind of tell me the reason, tell the audience why you decided to reach out to me on this call and what you'd like help with.
I appreciate it, David. The main thing is, and I know everybody deals with it differently, but after being in and out of insurance for a few years, it just kind of has become more and more of an issue for me over time is call reluctance. You know, picking up that phone, it gets to be 900 pounds over time, and hitting that green button and dialing and making those whether they be cold calls, warm calls, referrals, it sometimes gets a little bit frustrating and intimidating. Just looking for some help, some assistance. You know, how do you overcome that?
So can you better define what call reluctance is for you? If you can kind of give me a scenario that, you know, you experience it in more than others, or just kind of describe it, and let's see if we can kind of come up with some ideas to help.
Kind of dig into it a little bit. I get leads, of course, and you know, they're qualified leads. They're people that have asked for contact on how to help with their insurance solutions or life insurance or mortgage protection, final expense, what have you. And just picking up that phone, I know ideally we're going to make 50, 100, 150 calls a day or dials a day and maybe connect with 20, 30% of them. But actually picking up that phone and dialing that number and hitting that button, for some reason, when I get down to it, I can dial the number, but hitting that button, it's almost like an anxiety sometimes just comes over me, and it makes it difficult to, you know, reach out to that person. It makes it very difficult to, I don't know how to put it into words sometimes, but it's difficult to get on the phone and almost a fear sometimes, just an overwhelming anxiety that causes my brain just to freeze, stop thinking, and I can't seem to hit that button and go through with it.
Have you always been like this since you started selling insurance?
On and off. I went through a time when I was with, I started with Primerica, don't hate me, and didn't seem to have any troubles then, and then transitioned to some more traditional type of companies as an agent with them. And I found the longer I was with a few of these traditional companies, the more difficult it tended to get. And I don't understand why. Whereas now there are days when I just feel like, you know, yeah, I want to get up and make a 100 dials, but I almost get caught up in busy work. It's my hands find an excuse not to grab the phone. They find paperwork instead of the phone. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the older I get, the more difficult it becomes. Or if it's just, I don't know.
So let's say you get in front of a prospect, right? You overcome this reluctance and you get an appointment. Out of 10 appointments, how much business are you writing as form of policies out of 10 appointments? Like what percentage?
I would say probably 20%, 20 or 30%.
So 2 or 3 policies out of every lead? Or out of every presentation?
Out of it, I'd say out of every presentation, out of 10 presentations, I can probably get about 20%. You know?
Okay, So
That's
2
some
out of 10.
presentations we're looking at. Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of leads, again, are you predominantly working?
I get mortgage protection leads, and I also have access to final expense leads.
Are these direct mail, Facebook leads, internet leads,
Yes,
telemarketing?
direct mail.
Direct mail. Okay. Are they fresh,
Direct mail.
exclusive, or are they old, aged?
It's a mix of old and aged. None of them are exclusive, but
Okay.
we're looking at probably
Okay.
2 weeks to a year old.
Okay. Okay. 2 weeks to a year old. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
would you say the average is older than younger?
Yeah, the average
Like
is going
months
to
old?
be 6 months to a year.
Okay. All right. Okay. Have you ever worked exclusive leads before?
Not really, no. I haven't. I probably could. I could purchase some exclusive leads, but I know they're a little bit more on the pricey side. I just haven't jumped onto those yet.
I mean, kind of the first thought I'm thinking here is that you're working a lead that's going to be more difficult by design, which that may contribute to your anxiety of calling, right? I mean, anxiety is irrational, but we have anxiety because of events that have happened or because of beliefs that we have.
Right.
And if you're calling a lead that's been called, and if it's mortgage protection, it's been called a bunch of times by the time you get to it, or a handful. A lot of those people aren't going to be interested. They're tired of you calling them, and they're going to yell at you and scream at you. And the point is that in itself, if you have anxiety and you know that that's probably going to happen more often than not, that doesn't contribute towards a better mentality or experience with cold calling or with setting appointments.
Right.
Whereas if you've got fresh leads, you have exclusive leads, and you're the first person that calls, obviously not all of them are going to say, yeah, come on over and let me throw my checkbook at you, right? But you're going to have a larger percentage that say, yeah, I remember sending that off. I'm interested. And we'll book with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, I think some of the frustration I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but perhaps there's something to working the leads you are that contribute to that, because what you're essentially doing, well, I don't know, it's essentially doing, you're closer to cold calling than you are to warm calling for fresh leads. And with cold calling comes a different mentality than just working leads, because you've got to work through a bunch of leads or a bunch of names to get an interested prospect or presentation. Whereas with leads that are fresh, that never been worked before, it cuts down on that substantially. And the experience is not easy, but it's not as either. Any thoughts on that?
That actually makes a lot of sense. Hadn't really considered that, but it does make a lot of sense, because with the quality of the lead, it would make the setting the appointment considerably easier. Of course, the older the lead, the less likely they are to remember it or care, or consider they might have already gotten some product in place already and already had an agent buy, or 2 or 3 or 10. So that does make a lot of sense. So I probably should go ahead and invest in a little bit fresher, newer, higher quality leads. And I have found that direct mail leads are, in my opinion, in my experience, easier to deal with than, say, an internet lead, which could have gone 100 different places. So that's a good idea there.
Yeah, and think about it too. It's funny, sales. If you think about mankind starting from the earliest onset, we're naked, running around in the savannah. We've got wild animals that are hunting us, trying to kill us. We've got, unexplicable weather and events. we don't understand what's going on around us. We are developed as beings to have and put up defensive measures against anxiety, against stress, okay? And the thing is, your body deals with stress, whether it's physical potential or just something like this. And you pick up the phone. I know you've rationalized this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to come reach for the phone and grab you and kill you. None of that's going to happen. They're just going to scream and shut the phone down. It's over. It's it, But we respond to stress in the same way. And the point is that this is a highly irrational feeling that you're feeling. Because if you really sit down and think, no crazy lion's going to come gore you to death or anything like that. We're just talking about it's over as soon as it starts. So I think there's a level of recognizing that, but you can't help but to deny or recognize that you have to play the odds in your favor. You'll feel more of that anxiety when you cold call or when you cold canvas, okay? This is why, at least in my realm of final expense, why you very rarely see cold callers anymore. And why you see people in final expense, they're almost predominantly doing fresh exclusive leads. The business would probably be a fraction of it that it is today in total final expense volume if all we could do is cold call, because there are people who just won't do it because of the fear and the anxiety. And it doesn't matter how rationalizing you make it, it's there and it's real. So my point is, I think bridging that gap is one option to go from old, recycled, aged leads and start to mix in, like you said, and you acknowledge it, and I'm glad you agree, fresh, exclusive, direct mail. Because I'm sure in mortgage protection, like it was with final expense, it's king. And you got to give yourself the edge in every scenario, because what your experience is what every single agent has at some point in their career or others. You have to be real sadomasochist to actually like to pick the phone up and call people. It's just easier to overcome, right? If these people just sent a card off, they bought their home a week or two ago, and the odds are going to be a lot higher. You're going to set more, And here's the other thing too. Mortgage guys that write mortgage protection that work fresh and exclusive leads, they'll buy 15 leads, set 8 or 10 appointments, and they'll write 6, 7 deals. I mean, those are good metrics, and you should be writing that with a fresh lead. And what I think would happen, and I think part of this as well, is if your closing ratio goes up. And it's funny, I haven't even talked about closing. We're not talking about closing ratio, but 22 out of 10, if you're working fresh leads, is not good because you got this huge operating cost afoot. But working age leads that's pretty good. And these people have been called on before, right? And you're still selling 20% of it. So what that's telling me is that if you got put on fresh leads, I bet you could bump your closing ratio as high as I'm suggesting you could. And what that will contribute towards you is, hey, man, I'm closing 2 out of 3 sets. Yeah, I'm a little anxious, but I'm closing 2 out of 3 sets, not 2 out of 10. So I think, again, it all comes back to that, this anxiety maybe stems from a lead type that can be overcome with an improvement of the leads. Because when you're selling that much more, you're more excited, you get more energy, and that's irrational too, in an extent, right? But that overcomes and counters rationality. Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking. One other thing you can do, and I did this right when I first started in final expense. I hired an appointment setter. I'm not going to kid. I always have hated using the phone. I'm pretty good at it when I do it, but I'm sitting. It's like I can't. I get what you're saying. It's like I have it too. It's like I always like to say I used to be afraid to call an order from Pizza Hut, when I was a kid. And I just don't like using the phone. I'm good in front of people all the time. I can door knock great, but it's the phone that says weird. So if you can't beat them, have somebody else do it. So you can always consider outsourcing the appointment setting. Again, some people, boo-hoo at that. Yeah, only you can set your own appointments, and there's some truth to that. You'll set the best kind of appointments, but if you can't overcome the anxiety, then there are good people out there that will not take a lot of your money and do the most gut-wrenching part of your job for you, so that all you have to do is just sit in front of people And then in between appointments, if it's sensible, to door knock the leads that don't pick up the phone. So, and I have a lot of agents that do that with me. That's very appealing, to just outsource the appointment setting process. It just allows them to take that worry away. And it depends on your lead volume, but most appointment setters are going to charge $15, $18 per appointment. Some don't charge you if they no-show. Some charge you anyway. If you're running 10 appointments a week, you're looking at an expenditure of $150 to $200 a week. But then if you write half of that business, if your metrics are up there and you're working fresh leads, it pays for itself. It's a half of a normal, it's less than half of a normal policy for mortgage protection, especially. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. I've done that from day one, 95% of my personal production. And I don't know if I was about to say, I don't know if I would be in this business if I didn't have an appointment setter. I probably have gotten over it. I like to say that. I don't know though. But I tend to think we as agents should focus on our strengths and outsource our weaknesses. Let somebody else handle some of the weaknesses. Improve your weaknesses, sure. But what you're good at, what you're strong at, if you really think about it, is you probably agree with me, it's presenting in front of the prospect, right? Getting them to sign. That's where you make money at. And if you can hand over that appointment setting activity that you dread and hate, and in exchange, run more appointments, because now you don't have to call on the weekends or at night, get people on the phone. You can make up for that by, running more appointments and being more efficient, and you're going to be happier. And this all contributes. It's less anxiety, all this and that. It's this kind of exponential positive effect. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm taking some notes here. I hope you don't mind that. Because it does, what you said has made some sense to me. And I've had these thoughts before, but hearing somebody actually express them, of course, it helps. Logically, it makes sense. Like you said, our fears and anxieties are irrational. Much the other side are some of our excitements are too, but we can use those excitements. And focus on our strengths. Where my strength is conversationally, speaking with people, across the kitchen table, making friends and being that conversationalist, and helping people with those things face to face. And I think that is one of the things that does cause some anxiety on the phone, because I can't read people over the phone as well as I can visually.
Right. It's different.
So that, it makes a lot of sense there. So getting an appointment setter, yes, it would be a cost outlay, and affects the return on investment. But what if it frees up that much time and frees up that much emotional space and eliminates anxiety? Because I already know, hey, I'm walking up to the door and somebody's already spoken with them. And got them to confirm the appointment, and I can walk in and just speak with them, hey, one-on-one, or across the kitchen table with them and their family. That would eliminate a whole level of stress and possibly even make the sales process go a lot easier when I'm in the door with them.
Yeah.
I do like that idea. And I do need to look into getting more exclusive leads, because that would eliminate stress for me and whoever I get to set appointments. Granted, it would be a stress to put money out on the individual, but hey, again, if it frees me up to be able to do my job. It's not a cost;
it's an investment, and it's going to return. Because here's how I look at it. You're either going to be in this business successful, making sales, seeing the people, making the kind of income you want, or this anxiety is going to get the best of you, and you're going to not get the kind of results out of this business that you really want because of this stupid head game that we all have going on board. It's not, sure, you can tell yourself you're going to do it, and if you're struggling to do it, and you're not doing it, then hiring somebody else for a small fee is going to be the answer to helping you stay in this business and write that much more business. And I promise you, $200, $250, $300, whatever it is, that's not a lot of money if that helps you write one more policy, because that covers that cost, reduces the anxiety, and keeps you in this business helping people. Without that, who knows who's out there that would never get your help with insurance? So to me, I mean, it's not a cost. It's an investment in yourself. It's a way to accomplish this. Oh, so what? You're not Mr. Alpha male calling, all this BS. Who gives a crap? That's not the point. The point is this is a business. And if you have an activity you don't want to do, you hire somebody to do it and put yourself in a position to do what you do best, which is seeing people, helping them, being of service, and writing business. Way I look at it.
You make a very good point. And I like that because I do have that. It is a head game. I like the way you put that because I've had that issue where I pick up the phone. I'm like, well, somebody's already called them. And why would they want to talk to me? Why would they consider me, as the expert? Why would they need to speak with me about this? They've had this person possibly call them. I don't know that. I just make it up in my head that, oh yeah, and people had possibly already called them, and I can't confirm or deny that. So it does get to be a head game, and that's
it's all a head game, man.
Causes me to freeze.
Yep. I can think of real quick story. I ran an appointment where I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, right? And this particular appointment was probably it's in the same neighborhood that Senator Bob Corker lives in. And he's a multimillionaire, obviously a senator. Yeah. And I got a final expense lead card here, right? Our income filter is 0 to 50,000, not 0 to 50 million, right? So I'm rolling up in this place and I see this house. It's nice. It's got a view of the river. It's right near the golf course. And what's going through my mind? I'm Mr. Final Expense Agent Mentor. You think I'm like, no, I'm just like everybody else. I'm like, shit. Why'd they send this card back? I don't want to waste my time. I'm getting out of here. I literally turned around and started pulling away. And then something in the back of my mind said, you sissy, get back there and go see the people. Stop being a wuss. And I was like, okay. So then I turned around, pulled into driveway, Escalade, BMW. I'm getting more and more depressed as I pull in. I get out. This woman's now she's walking to her car. She says, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, you sent the card in. And well, I told you to call and confirm. Come see me tomorrow, but confirm before you come. So I came. I didn't confirm. And she said, what are you doing here? You didn't confirm. I said, well, I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm busy. And she said, well, just come in. Anyways, long story short, lady's worth a lot of money. I ended up writing 5 or 6 $25,000 policies on this lady. All right. I want to say the commission off of this was 10,000 plus. Okay. But here's the point. I was exactly in the same position as you. I justified in my own mind my anxiety and reason why I shouldn't go do this deal. The truth is, and it's not a logical issue here. It's all in the head. You don't know nothing about these people. Okay. You don't know anything. All you know is they sent a card back. They requested information and your job is to deliver that to them. If they don't want to see it, you're not going to force your way in. You're not going to do bad things. You're a good person. But that's all we know. And you have to remind yourself of that. And, it's like, and that's the constant battle we all have to fight. I don't think that ever goes away for anybody. It's like exercise. You can become more resistant to it. You can develop a muscle memory to fight that. But it's always going to be there in some capacity. And I mean, like there's so many people right now listening to this or who will listen to this. They're in the same boat as you, man. And I'm here to tell you, I've been doing this since 2011. It doesn't go away. It reduces. You just find ways to cope and work around it. For me, it was hiring somebody else to work around it. And that's what led me to be able to run as many appointments as I did, make the sales I did, and help as many people as I did. And I don't have any shame in saying that.
And I like that. Hopefully somebody gets something from that because I've been fighting that battle for many years, and it's steadily grown over time. You know, you get beat up, you get beat up, you get beat up, and you kind of shriek a little bit more each time. And you know, you get afraid of getting that bruise again, and you get afraid of getting that blister on your, you know, your mind, your tongue, your heart again. And you're right. It's the first time talking to that person, and they don't know that. They, you know, it's nothing against you personally. It's just that they, you know, maybe it's the day. And I'm definitely going to be looking into, you know, fresh exclusive leads, just like you said, and the appointment setter. And I think those two will get me more, not only more confidence, but more solid in the business, and, you know, exploding the business. You know, that's what I need. That's what I need to do.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, man. Just, you know, again, some people think you got to work on weaknesses, which there's something to be said for that. But you can also, in business, you know, you got to know what your core competencies are. What are you good at? What do you perform the best at? And do that. And anything else that you're so mediocre or suck at, find somebody else to fill in the gap. When it comes to setting appointments, that's a part of the skill set you need to have to run a direct sales business. It is something that with enough time and energy, you can find someone to do it for you. There's outsourced solutions that will handle it for you on a per call basis. And that alone will just relieve your anxiety and allow you to focus on what matters, which is see the people.
Perfect.
Well, Richard,
I love it.
you got any other questions for me? Anything else I can help clarify?
Not really. I mean, that's it. You know, I can't eat this elephant all by myself and all at once. So I got to take it one step at a time. And I think you've helped me a lot just in this. And I got some work to do. So I appreciate your help. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, very good. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this training that I did with Richard. This is a part of a series where I'm talking to individual producers and kind of helping them with their challenges, struggles, that kind of thing, and really providing this as a resource to let everybody know that we all experience exactly what Richard goes through at one point of our career or throughout the entirety. And it's okay. And it's kind of in a good way to see people, you know, you're not alone. You know, it's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, you start seeing other people and the struggle is real, and you're in a group that's supportive. And this is kind of helpful in that regards. At least I hope so. That's the idea of what I do. If you like this video, please thumbs it up, subscribe if you haven't. I am probably going to do a bunch of these videos just because I like our talk today with Richard is really super helpful. So I think other people like the other kinds that we have coming up. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And special thanks to Richard for being courageous enough to get on camera and talk. And this is our first time talking too. So, you know, being fully forthright. It's pretty good. So
I know you're all jealous of the haircut.
There you go. That's right. David Duford here at davidduford.com logging off. You guys take care and thanks, Richard. See you.